William News Carver was an American outlaw and member of several famous gangs during the later years of the Wild West. Carver was born in Central Texas in 1868. As a teenager, he worked as a cowboy on a few ranches before traveling west to Wyoming and Utah. It was here he met and married Vianna Byler, an aunt to future female outlaw Laura Bullion. Unfortunately, Byler died from fever less than 6 months into the marriage, and at this point, Carver began his outlaw career. In no time at all, he became involved with several women, including Josie Bassett and then later Laura Bullion, his former wife's niece. All this less than a year after his wife's death. The Sutton Historical Society in Texas said, "In 1895, Will Carver and Sam Ketchum were accused of killing a man named John Powers. Fearing the law, they hit the outlaw trail and soon ended up in New Mexico." In 1896, Will was almost 30 years old, and he was riding with the Blackjack Ketchum gang, taking part in several robberies in New Mexico, and becoming close friends with outlaw Ben Kilpatrick. He would eventually receive the nickname News from fellow gang members for the glory of reading about his exploits in the papers. After a robbery and shootout involving the Ketchum gang and a local store owner and posse, Carver fled with others to Robber's Roost in Utah, where he began riding with Butch Cassidy's Wild Bunch gang. By early 1900, Carver was involved with a prostitute named Lily Davis, whom he'd met at Fanny Porter's brothel in San Antonio, a popular spot for members of the Wild Bunch. This eventually led to friction between him and Laura Bullion, who in turn became involved with Kilpatrick. Within a year, Carver and Bullion were again involved romantically, and Cassidy was planning another big robbery. The gang headed north into Wyoming. And within a few years, most of the gang was dead or on the lam. On August 29, 1900, Carver, Kid Curry, Butch Cassidy, and the Sundance Kid robbed a Union Pacific train near Tipton, Wyoming, with a haul that exceeded $30,000. The gang split up to ditch the posses, and Carver fled south. It has been claimed that Carver was later involved in the robbery of a Great Northern train near Wagner, Montana, along with Kid Curry and the Sundance Kid. Will had decided it was time to head back to Texas, and made his way to Sonora, where he and George Kilpatrick were casing a bank. Unfortunately, they were recognized by a bartender at the Maud S. Saloon. The bartender alerted the sheriff, who organized a posse to pursue the notorious train and bank robbers. News Carver was shot and killed on the night of April 2, 1901, in Sonora, Texas, by Sheriff E.S. Bryant and his deputies. With guns drawn on entry, they attempted to arrest Carver and George Kilpatrick on suspicion of the murder of Oliver Thornton in Concho County. One of the outlaws supposedly made a fumbling motion towards his holster, and the lawman began firing. Carver's gun never cleared the holster, and he was shot multiple times. Before he died, he was heard saying, "Die game, boys?" Kilpatrick survived the shootout and later cleared Carver of the murder. It was later thought that Kid Curry was responsible for Thornton's murder. Will Carver is buried in the Sonora Cemetery in Sonora, Texas. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found some value here. There's a playlist for the members of the Wild Bunch, and be sure to check the description for links to my most popular videos. Feel free to share this video to Facebook or Reddit, and don't forget to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next story. Thank you.